What is up, YKTR Sports Nation? Welcome back into the YKTR content studio for a very special episode of the Sports Show. It is week one review time of the finals, rolling into week two, and we're also going to get into a bit of NRLW as well. I'm your host, Skipper Scope, joined as always by my boy, producer Jacko.
Yo.
We got the mic there, nice. And Triple OG, Willie Mason.
What's
doing, brother?
Not a lot, man, not a lot.
Good round of footy, plenty to talk about.
Oh, there's heaps, isn't there? I mean, we're going to get into it a bit later, but it's like a soap opera, isn't it? It just doesn't stop. You don't have to sit here and study anything, what's going on every day, because every day changes. But what a round of footy, man. It was impressive. Every single game from the Parra Penrith game, Sharks, North Queensland, Canberra, Storm, and then on Sunday was just a fucking cracker. Like, I don't know, it was like in both senses of it. Like
it lived up to the hype. 100% it did.
Man, I was just the atmosphere in there, just doing some stuff because I was out there with the tab, just doing a bit of before and after, going out there, and just the scenes at Allianz. You know, when you're a young kid, I think you're from that generation as well, Skip. Just like your dream was to play a final on a Sunday, wasn't it? Sunday Arvo.
Yeah, Sunday Arvo.
Because just say if you're a 20-year-old or 20 or maybe about 25. They only look at night games and go, yeah, I want to play night game. So look at that. But when we're younger, when we're looking at the 90s, like playing a semi-final or the grand finals on the Sundays was always in the day.
Sunday Arvo.
So if you're my vintage, you're looking at that going, yeah, I just can't wait for that. And I was lucky enough to play in semi-finals at Allianz and SFS back in the day. It was always the highlight of like your semi-final run.
Yeah,
is that game playing against either the Roosters in the day. I think we had a Cronulla game, Penrith, Melbourne a couple of times during the day. It was always great football, man. Lived up to the hype. It was amazing.
One of my earliest memories is watching the '94 grand final of Dad, Sunday Arvo, Raiders versus
the
Bulldogs.
Raiders, and Ruben Wiki, and like that was just that. The green machine was at its best.
Was that Mel's last ever game too? '94 grand final.
It was.
Yeah.
What a way to go out!
And what a rig! What a rig Big Mel had.
Oh my God!
Which rolls straight into
what a rig!
Australia's most ordinary rig is happening right now, Jacko. Budgie Smuggler, it's the event of the year. They're going to be doing it at the Ivy again. They're looking for contestants to send in images of the rig, Jacko. So what we're looking for, it's going to close at October 3rd, by the way. There's a few NRL players that we think that could still be sending in.
I think so too.
Mase, they've talked about, they want a type of footy player that, might have talked it up, like said he could have been something that never ever eventuated. But there are a couple of mutters out there in the NRL right now that could hand them in. Name us a couple of your favourites.
Yeah, a couple of Kenny Bromwich.
King
Shout
Kenny.
out to Kenny. I love Kenny Bromwich, but I think Channel 9 didn't do him any favours the other week. He exposed himself. The bra.
The Horsbra.
The bra down in Canberra. Corey Horsbra's hiding something underneath that shirt, and he loves it.
Yeah.
He's a big, hard redhead. He goes very, very hard, but he'd be in contention. If he was just a club player and never played first grade, I think you'd see him at the Ivy this week.
100%. Well, no, the entries don't close until October 3rd. So if they don't make the GF.
Adam Cuthbertson. The Graham had the King Mutters. Oh,
yeah, he was the OG Mutters.
Shout out to the Graham.
Shout out to the OG Mutters. So the top 10 will be flown into Sydney. It'll be the Ivy pool as per. They've done it, a couple of years ago. It's a great event. The Hello Sports Boys will be hosting it as well. So it's going to be a giggle. We'll be there at some point. It's not.
So there is a criteria,
here,
right? You have to be an ex-player. That's a couple of things went wrong. Anything.
Yeah, just your everyday guy that like.
See, I don't think you've got to be careful with the mutters because you got to think imagine do you just have to have an awful rig all over? You know what I mean? That you just been sick
you need
and
a personality. You need
skinny legs. Bit of everything. Maybe the skinny leaves the big gut.
Yeah.
That's the Graham all over.
The Skip might even throw something in there just for a giggle.
Who do you reckon?
Just for a giggle. I might chuck myself in there. I might get the rig out. But it's 10K to the winner, Mase. Half will go to charity. Half will go to the local club. You've got to be able to fucking enjoy beer. You've got to have a bit of personality, a personality about you. Budgie Smuggler.
That's amazing,
they're on the search for Australia's most ordinary rig. Let's get into six of the best.
It'd be a bit embarrassing if you were like an NRL player and you went in there.
And
you won. I think the Graham would have won in 2008. I'm just keep going back to the Graham.
Yeah.
He's the DB king.
There's a few. There's got to be a few like
If
Who
you look
else?
you look through every team.
So we had Mutters United last year. King Kenny was a starting back rower. Actually, he was vice captain. He was co-captain, King Kenny, Bromwich.
Drew Hutchinson would go close.
Mutters Hutchinson. Mutters Hutchinson, 100% for the Roosters. He's knocked out now. He's got an awful rig. Yeah. He could chuck his name in there.
Could Latrell be in that?
Yeah, Trell was our starting fullback, and he embraced it. I named it. He was the first one. He was the first one that we named.
Only from round 1 to 6, but then he's out. then he gets fit.
Yeah, before Hammy, Latrell met. Before Hammy.
God damn.
All right, let's rip straight in.
Sorry. So back to the Mutters. If they said, all right, NRL players, you have a separate thing. Like just say your average Mutters, and then they go, all right, and then you NRL Mutters. Would that be something to be proud of?
I'd wear it with pride. I'd wear it with pride.
You know who could be in there? Jake Arthur. Because he has the skinniest arms instead of legs I've ever seen in my life. I saw him on the weekend. I said, what the fuck? Does he know what a preseason is? Oh, Jakey Arthur, come on,
you know,
kid.
had a dog's body for a half as well.
Oh, he's got a DB,
guy.
mate.
Luke Walsh. You remember Walshy?
Little cat's hair, dog head.
He hated it too. Shout out to Walshy.
Ice looking all tanned up. Look at you. Where you been?
Yeah, the boss is in the background.
Bro? Yeah, that'll do it to you.
All right, 6 of the best, Jacko.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Let's rip in. We may as well start with the Roosters Rabbitohs game. Obviously, the wash up from that scope. We had a record 7 sin bins. I suppose the question everyone's being asked is, did you enjoy the contest or were you put off by the carry on in the sin bins? What did you make of the game, Scope?
Yeah, straight away I loved it. It was a good weekend across the board and put a little bow on it. A little bit disappointing with the sin bins. I thought they were a little bit over the top, and there's been a lot talked about that with mate over the weekend. Mate, where do you stand with, like, in particular, do you think, like, there's a part I wrote something, I sent out an Instagram story on the weekend about, I thought Ashley Klein's lost a couple of big games. Origin this year. There was another one at Sharks Panthers game, but also, and that I was sort of emotional after the game, even though I wanted a little bit of jam as well. Like it favoured me, but I just think there's been big occasions this year that he's sort of lost the game, and it's highlighted, but in particular by the Radley one to kick it off, and then it just started a shit fight.
Exactly. So once you make that first decision, you think that's a send off. Everyone's thinking that's not a send-off, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't instigate anything. It was just a push and shove. You just warn him and you go back. But you let it play and then you send him off. So automatically you've drawn that line. And then these refs somehow in their head, they've got to go, I've got to square it up somehow.
100%.
So that's what people don't understand. So when it's just like, okay, well, I'll just look for the next one to square up, the next one to square up. And then it just got out of hand.
Yeah.
Because Tom Burgess, I love Big Tommy, I love his aggression. People understand it's a semi-final. They hate each other, these teams. Understand that. This is not like North Queensland and Cronulla, where
it should have been officiated like an Origin game.
Should have been officiated like an Origin game. Understand that, but like if he had the balls and he just understood what happened to Teddy, I'm not sure. Teddy wasn't slipping. He wasn't doing anything. It was already lined up, and he got him fair and square. If he had drawn the line there, because this is what happens. If you're a middle and you did that to my fullback and my best player and one of my best mates, I'm going to go after your fucking head. Hargraves, all these blokes, that's exactly what they do. That's what you do as a middle. You protect your best players. You protect guys like Teddy like they're gold. And you don't send him off. So exactly what Hargraves did, they were going after Tom massively. You know what I mean? So if you had went, okay, Tom, you're either sent off or you have a 10 minutes in the bin, it would have been solved. But if you let him play along and then he gets Crichton. Do you know what I mean? Like when do you draw the line?
He got Lodge.
He got Lodge.
Yep.
He got Lodge again, and it just goes. And he didn't even get. He didn't get 10 for that.
No, he got Lodge. The one on Teddy was worse, and he actually got done on the Lodge one.
So, but if he had said the Teddy one, he wouldn't have had the Lodge one, and it just would have been ended. It would have been ended right there. I think the NRL need to somehow come up with some sort of rule where, okay, we'll give you 10. Just say if it's a send off offence, like just say what Tom did. I think it was nearly a send off offence. So Teddy's off, has to do his 15 minutes, and anyway, doesn't pass it. I think they should go, all right, well, it is a send-off offence now, you go, because he can't come back on.
That's interesting.
I think they should be able to do that. If he can't make it back on, then you're in dire straits until if he's on, you can stay on. If he's off, you're off as well. I think they should incorporate that because it fucked the game up. What I mean?
What about an accidental one at like 10 minutes into a game? That would ruin the game though too. If you 13 against 12, some of the ones. So in particular, like just say for instance, so for me, I'll give you my 3 that deserved it. So
Tom?
Hargraves head slam and Tom deserved 10 for that, I believe. That's my opinion. Tane Milne, the first shot on Suolai, the second one was awful. Yeah. I mean, he got Connor Watson on the ball and it bounced up. He shouldn't have got sent for 10 for that. But Tane Milne on the first one should have got 10. And then I'm 50-50 on the Tommy Burgess first one on Teddy. I could see it, but I could more see it like if he just sent Radley shouldn't have been sent for 10 for either. Totola shouldn't have been sent for 10.
Yeah. Both those were just rubbish.
We watched a game.
But he set the precedent early. That's exactly what it is. So when you do that, you lose control of the game. And I hear journos, I think Brent Reed was arguing with Woodsy on Triple M. He goes, the players shouldn't have been doing this. Shut up. Spoken like a true fucking journo who's never strapped on a boot and never been out there. He would make a fucking good ref, Brent Reed. You know what I mean? He would have made a good ref because Woodsy's going, he should have had control of the game from the start. And Reedy's like, no, the players played like this and they were carrying on. You let them carry on. You get the line straight and you just this is how it is. You talk to the players and when they're losing control, you should have got everyone in. Next one's going off. You can control a game like that. Bill Harrigan used to do it like a fucking OG. He'd get everyone, next fucking step out of the line, you're off, Mase, you're off Gordon, you're off all these sort of blokes. If you do one step wrong, he just let it keep going and going and going and going. And you give these players rope and you let it burn and burn, this fire burn. Knowing Tom Burgess is still on there, your best player's off, I'm going to fucking try and kill him. That's what players think like. Brent Reed, we're not fucking journos. You know what I mean? Like we just sit here and just go, oh my God, they lost control of the game. Come on, man. You don't understand that because you've never been out there. So don't judge. You don't know who lost the game. Woodsy does because he's been out in that fire. You know what I mean? Like he's played in semi-finals. He played in Origin games. Like shit gets out of control. And if the ref lets it get out of control, players do what the fuck they want. We'll take as much rope as we can until you draw the line and send us off.
100%.
And he just kept giving him rope. And once Teddy got knocked out, Hargraves was going after him, Lodge was going after Tom, and it was eventually going to happen. And I would do exactly the same fucking thing if I was in the Roosters. Anyone worth half their fucking balls in the front row in any team would have done the same thing. So if they had controlled the game at the start, Klein, none of this shit would have happened.
Yeah, I've got a perfect example for you, mate.
Just even after that first little thing with Radley, come in here. Come in here, captains, come here. Get everyone in. Anything else that happens, I know everyone's fired up, blah, blah, blah. If any swinging arms, this, you're going off. You only get sent off in a semi-final act because it'll cost your team. It needs to be repercussions, and if you just keep him 10 for all these stupid little things, someone should have been sent off. Have the balls to do that.
To your point, Mase, you sort of started and you almost finished it there as well. If you got time to go back and watch a replay, we watched it because we were watching highlights of maybe Melbourne before Parra. Someone sent us some micro to watch on the Melbourne versus Parra game in 2010. So remember 2009 they played in the grand final? 2010 Melbourne's points got stripped. Watch how well Tony Archer communicates with the players in that game. So there was a couple of melees. Do you remember the Hainsey headbutt just before Origin? Him and Billy Slater were going at each other. They hated each other, right? So Hainsey gets into a bit of a melee with Bill. It's a headbutt, but it's not. It's a bit like the Radley thing. Like people saying it's a punch, but it's not. Like it's a graze, you know. And Hainsey's headbutt was like just a little push.
They're touching heads and it's sort of moving it. You know, it's not like you're going
Tony Archer
bang.
comes into him, Mase, and he goes, same sort of thing. Like you could relate it to Origin or Grand Finals, right? He goes, you got a pretty big month coming up. So he goes, you want to be careful in this game. He spoke to him properly, communicated
like
both
a fucking man instead of a kid.
With Melbourne and Parra. There was another melee probably like 10 minutes later.
Francis.
And then Francis melee. And then they both got sent off. Morty got done, Billy got done, and then there was no other dramas after that. Because he goes, I'm going to give you a warning here for now. Get your shit together. Because there's a big all-in. You know, fucking Adam Blair's getting in there trying to, you know, use the Melbourne chokehold.
Something, everything.
And a fresh-faced Skip's getting over the top like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm out of my league here. I'm in my rookie year and I'm going, there's Billy Slater here. But Skip, you watch the replay. Skip was chirping a little bit too. Can't help myself. But just go and watch that game if you want to. Like when what Mase is talking about with the OGs, some of the old refs, they used to just be able to have conversations with him, get him in, have a bit of a warning early on that Radley one in particular, and I reckon it would have changed the dynamic of the game.
That's what I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Where all these guys are saying the ref wasn't he didn't lose control. It was the players. You give players that much rope, they will do that. You don't understand the amount of wild motherfuckers playing our game. You want that smoke. If you're going to let us go, This is the result. This is the result you get when you give players too much pull and you don't talk to them like humans, and you just send off, and you don't explain it like the Tony Archers used to do, and all these refs that I got ref by, they were not too bad. Ashley Klein I've been ref by Ashley Klein before. He's not a bad bloke.
No,
he just lost control of the game.
Yeah.
It's like he's got something on in October. He might want to fuck off overseas because he don't want to, or definitely doesn't want to ref the GF. He's 100% out.
He's had a poor year. I like Ashley Klein as well. I think he's been one of the better referees for a long time. But I reckon he's had a poor year, and it's just like anything. Like, if you have a poor year as a player, you deserve to be dropped.
Yeah. He's not going to get the grand final.
Yeah, someone messaged me and goes, mental health, you got to go both ways. I'm like, one, I didn't threaten his life or anything.
I just said, who said that shit?
So a guy on Instagram messaged me. He goes, be better. He goes, mental health, it's got to go both ways. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He goes, take it down. I'm like, no, because he had an awful job. If a fan sprays a player for having an awful game, I'm not going to go like, oh, they can't not cop it. Yeah. But like, if he starts threatening his family and death threats and all this sort of fucking stupid shit that goes with it,
you're in a position. 100%. We're in a position to critique people's performances. You know what I mean? Like, and the refs know that they're in a position of power. Yeah. So they're putting themselves out there. They're on TV. They're making these decisions so everyone can critique refs like they do players. And if 100%. You're a fan and you don't understand that, shut up.
One last thing, Jacko, before we move on, and there's been a bit of chat about this. A little bit when we'll be moving on to the Latrell. Actually, get into what Latrell's saying here, and I'll give my point on the game.
Yeah, sweet. Just before we move off the refs, we have mentioned it upstairs. I don't think we mentioned it on the show before, but we like us some Adam G in terms of a guy who can control.
No, you like Adam G. I like Grant Atkins.
Oh, Grant Atkins. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Old high quads Atkins.
Don't chuck me on the G train, baby. Yeah. Don't chuck me on the G train. Throw me in the G train like that.
Atkins.
Be better, Jacko.
He controls the game well.
Yeah, I like Atkins. Atkins has got a bit of personality about him.
I don't mind him. Yeah. I just look at the way that they conduct themselves and they talk to players.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. You know what I mean? The Badge was good at that. The Badge, shout out to the Badge.
Badge is great.
Big fan of the show. Like, he used to talk to you like a human.
Yeah.
Mase, you're 3 meters offside. Get back. Otherwise, I'm going to penalise you. I'm like, fuck off, Badge. Fuck off, Badge.
No wonder you like him, then.
We used to get on the piss back in 98.
Yeah.
Don't you forget that shit. When you're a Jersey Fleet fucking ref. No, I mean, I've always had respect for refs. So I'd never like, I mean, I think I've been sent off. I've never been sent off for 10 for like foul play. It wasn't like anything like disrespectful or anything like that to the refs or nothing.
Because you knew how to communicate to the refs as well.
I'd communicate to the refs. I would never disrespect refs. And like, players need to understand that. If you have a good rapport with refs, Cam Smith is the fucking the blueprint of that shit.
Yeah.
He's the blueprint. He's the Jay-Z. Like, he's got it. You know what I mean? Like, he comes out and he talks to refs and they talk back to him and he's like, he's got that mateship with him. And they're like, when you get those 50-50s, they're going to go Melbourne's way. They're going to go Queensland's 100%. Way or Australia's way because he talks to them with respect. And as a man to man, talk to the players like that as well.
Yeah.
You know, like if he had handled the Radley situation straight away, come here, Vic. If you keep going, I know you're fucking fired up. This is an emotional game for everybody. But pump it, because you got a big campaign coming up. You don't want to be sent off. You don't want to cost your team. Victor would have went, oh shit, light bulb situation. I won't go.
Well, maybe not.
I won't go crazy. Maybe not with Vic. Maybe not with Victor.
Yeah, but at least you gave him a warning.
At least you gave him a fair warning. Vic takes someone's head off. Fucking Vic, I fucking just told you. Now you've got to go.
Did you see him losing?
Because everything's so mic'd up now. Yeah. It's like people can hold that accountable. Before it's just like you used to hold it. Mate, you want to do it? You do that again, you're going to get sent. Oh, fuck off, mate. You know, shit like that. People used to say that. Get fucked. You know, like, but when they had their backs turned.
Yeah, but
joke.
You know how much of a lunatic he is, and this is like sort of a bit like what you're talking about. Brett Morris come on because he's assistant coach there. He was on the field and he was trying. Trying to calm him down. And he pushed him away, and because he's so much of a lunatic, he went, "Oh fuck, sorry, I didn't mean to do this."
The eyes just glazed over, and it was just like a fucking white pointer in the fucking looking for meat.
Yeah,
you know
that got me.
Like, it was just like I saw it. And
he pushed him away, and then he went, "Fuck, that's one of the OGs." He went, "Oh fuck, sorry, I need to calm down."
I saw that too.
He's a lunatic. It made me laugh, man.
He just plays with a lot of passion. We can't take that out of players. But we just need to harness it and put it in the right direction somehow. And that's just Vic. Victor didn't do anything that deserved a send-off. No. I mean, a binning or anything like that. Neither
no way.
Tola.
No.
Tom probably deserves his 10.
Yeah, 50-50.
And even Hargraves, with those head slams, I sort of know with the HIA shit, but I just go back and go, fuck, that was a great tackle. But
5 years ago it was a great tackle.
Because
I
remember picking someone up. I'm 6'5". He was up as tall as me. I had his head like Hargraves did and slammed it into the ground as hard as I could. Play on.
Yeah, Adam Blair got me a doozy. Actually, speaking to Adam Blair again, he was He got me a good time out at Manly, and I'm still recovering from it.
These players. we train for that. You got to generate power as fucking close to
you want to hurt
as
them.
can. You want to hurt
It's
it,
a fucking
mate.
finals game.
And like Hargraves got it back, but at the end of the day, Souths won, better team. It was fucking still a good game. Good spectacle.
I was trying to find who was the referee in that game when him and Tavita Pangai went nuts. Radley
Into
last year. Yeah,
the Broncos Roosters game.
Yeah, I couldn't find it, but anyway.
He went nuts at
He
that's
goes
about
nuts.
40 kilos.
He's a lunatic.
I love him, mate.
You'd fucking love to play with him.
Oh, God, he's the
You'd
best.
love to play with him.
Old scope that kind of rolls nicely into the next topic, which is Latrell's come under fire for the second week in a row.
I got one for this, mate. I got one for this.
More or less contradicting himself in media again. Basically, he's told the media to call himself Trell Milk because he's been accused of
They
milking
come out.
penalties.
Someone fucking hit him with a meme.
And so basically now it's blown the conversation wide open around Latrell and media again, Scope. But I'll volley this one up to you to do your thing with.
Yeah, this is. I enjoy this one because you're chucking in there. You've watched the 360 and all that too. Because I ended up running into Trell on Monday. He was playing a bit of golf. I was just finishing up golf. He was going out there just for a nice little night, a cruisy 9 holes. And I said to him, fuck, you got us a beauty because like when we talked about you last week on the sports show, I'm like, Trell's got to embrace it. But when you look back in the game, everyone was losing his shit but him. Trell Mitt, he's playing chess, not checkers at the minute.
100.
He is fucking dictating the media to how he wants to be perceived. And so he goes and fires everyone up, says, everyone's booing me and all this sort of shit. He was fucking cruisier than anyone out there on the field last week. And I said, you got us a beauty. I said, you got me. Like me and Mase were talking about it. And he goes, yeah, I was watching it. He goes, I was having a laugh. He goes, I love what you guys do in particular, like the way you talk about it from a player's perspective. But he goes, he sort of just gave me a little wink. And I remember just thinking like, he's just in a whole different level at the moment.
Mate.
He just knows who he is.
What
and
he said,
I
chess
think this
not
plays
checkers,
into it.
mate.
Yeah.
Chess not checkers. He just come out there like the best one was when he got hit and he put the ball down. And said, I'm done unless I get a penalty. He put the ball down. Imagine, just say a few of the opposition, you could have picked that up and ran with it. That's how confident he was because he knows he's playing the game to the rules.
He's got footy IQ.
The football IQ and everything, the booing, all this bullshit, how good he played was just I can't speak high enough for that kid. The amount of hammering that he copped all week and then he goes out and just flips it on everyone, kicks every single goal in front of everybody, nails it, gets pretty much an MOM. Oh, did he get MOM?
You would have got.
Well, it was my MOM. I'm just watching the game, and I just see he
scored a try while they had 11 players.
But he dictated how it should have been refed. You know what I mean? Like he hit him high. He goes, I'm not playing. You know what I mean? I'm going to get a penalty because you know how hard it is getting out of yardage. And Roosters, if you break the momentum of the Roosters' defence like he was all the time, because they want to get down and bash him like they did last week, the week before, they want to all get down there, fucking about 5 into him and hammer him. You hit him high, he's going to stay down. They're going to look at the replay. He's got connected to the head. They're the rules. Penalty. He's playing to the rules like a genius. And he controlled everything. He was emotionless. He didn't do anything.
Everyone was losing their shit.
He was emotional at the end of the game. And I fucking love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's a real dude. He's a real dude. You know what I mean? He plays with passion. As soon as a crowd heard, he heard the crowd loving him so much. It gives me tingles now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just went, fuck, I'm so loved. Because that kid is so loved. He cops a lot of bullshit, but he would have recognised right then when they heard his voice and the fucking adulation and the love that kid got from those South supporters was fucking next level. And he deserves everything that he gets.
You know who, and I've thought about it as well. Last couple of days, I've been thinking about just a little wink and how confident he was. Do you reckon it's he's either developed that himself through experience, or is it just been around Wayne the last couple of years and knowing how Wayne dictates? You know how Wayne always said the right things.
Manipulated the market all the time.
He manipulates the being able to fucking manipulate the narrative and the media, and then they get on and they Trell's feeling this, Trell fucking contradicts himself, and he's just sitting back going.
Yeah, the best thing Wayne Bennett, just say Wayne Bennett, when I first come back from my little stint in the south of France, and everyone was just thinking it was Willie Mason of they used to control the narrative in the 2000s, say whatever they want. Obviously, social media comes in. This is 2012. He goes, and then all of a sudden, Wayne's the coach. They're like, oh, Wayne, they'll sort of question what I'm doing. Is Willie going to be that kid of 2000 fucking... Who gives it? And Wayne's coached me at a high level, kangaroo tool, so he knows what sort of person I am, knows what I bring. So I've never, ever doubted that, and he's never doubted that. So he goes, Willie, this is a plan. You don't say anything for 3 months. Let me talk. For 3 months... The narrative of me being this bad boy and all this sort of shit and bad influence on everything into becoming a leader and a senior player and all this sort of thing, It just happened like organically because people started looking at me, what I was playing in football, what I was bringing in the community, what I am usually, what I was in the 2000s. Well, when we can control the narrative now, he just said, just sit back and watch these fucking blokes just love you. This was a plan. He goes, well, they'll love you for who you are because I love you. You know what I mean? And it happened. You know what I mean? Next minute, 12, 13, 14, everyone's talking about Willie the leader and all this sort of shit. I've always been that. But because he controlled the narrative, I only spoke when I wanted to speak, and everything was just about football and what I'm doing in life and all this kind of stuff. And going back to Newcastle was great for me because I'm from Newcastle. It was like the prodigal son just returned. You know what I mean? Like, so that was the sort of line it was. And they started appreciating me for what footballer I was instead of all the bullshit. There you go. And then he fucking did all that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's fucking, it was a plan. It was a plan. We sat down and hatched a plan out. He goes, this is how we'll fix it. He goes, I want people to know how much of a great footballer you are and a great person you are. And he fucking did. He's a genius. And with young Trell Mitt, he would have fed for 3 years.
He's taught him well.
Off him. I think he had 2 years under Wayne.
Yep.
And he just would have soaked everything in. And, you know, it's paying dividends now.
Before we move off it, and it's a credit to him because he's taken advantage of it, though, with what Mase is talking about with footy IQ. I think it's going to be a problem in the game. There's a couple, right? So if you have, you know, back in the day, they used to say if you, you know, HIA, people would taking dives and then someone would get sent off or whatever. The way they try to deter that and the way that helps concussions is having 15 minutes to get an assessment on the sidelines. I think it's got to come in soon because the one that players are using, not only, you know, Trell, but across the NRL, is the crusher tackle. Ooh, anytime anyone gets a crusher tackle now, they're lying down, they're just grabbing their neck, and they don't even have to lie down. They just grab their neck because it doesn't even get to that point, and the referees just bang, blow it.
Or do you think there's to be more onus on the referees and how they interpret it?
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Because these players are going in. Sorry to cut in. They're coming in and they're backing up and trying to get these fucking yards after catch. You know what I mean? Like,
it's all outside backs, Mase, mainly.
Yeah, they all come in, they try and twist, and then they twist around, and you're already like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
You're supposed to somehow move. Because what they're trying to do, people at home, they're trying to back into the line so you can get out, so they can flip down and get on their guts and get a quick play the ball. That's what they're trying to do. So when you're stopping them like that, if you're a big man, you're stopping them from moving, and then next minute they keep moving like that. Their neck keeps getting in that position. Yeah. So they put themselves in that position because they want us as defenders.
And defenders just want to hold them there
to move a little bit. But we're already sort of down in that. We're down in a power position, and then they just end up going over because we're not moving. Because they want to flip around, get that quick play the ball, get you not square, bang off. That's what they do. Like Joey Manu gets caught in that predicament a lot because he goes in, backs in, blah, blah, blah. Crichton gets caught in that a lot because these outside backs come in there. They're trying to get that quick play the ball and they're trying to flip out, but because people are onto it, all these middles are onto how they run. They're catching, but the first impact, and then they somehow move backwards, and then you've still got that contact, and then like it's a fucking shit. It's a shit go. If your neck is fucked, stay down and go off.
So here's my point to it, Mase, right?
How do we solve it?
So they've got to do the same thing for the HIA. So if someone grabs their neck, we should be worrying about the safety of players that are genuinely hurt. Yeah. So if he has a bad neck, right, he go off for 10 minutes. And guess what? If you were faking, fuck it, you're off for 10 minutes as well, and it could cost your team. Yeah. So it's not like the reason I like it as well because it's like we're talking about. It's not really forwards who would take advantage of the rule, right? NRL players and coaches are smart. They will find a way to find a way around it. But if you're an outside back, if you're Crichton, Joey Manu, they don't necessarily they're not.
All the OBs.
I'm not really like getting into them. It's a rule there to be taken advantage of.
100%.
And you know what? It's also going to lead to now, what do we want to crack down on? The cannonball and the hip drop, right?
Hip drops, yeah.
So I reckon next year, I reckon all of this year it's been crusher tackle. You're 30 metres out. You're trying to get out of yardage. 3 middles get you in. You grab your neck, penalty, you go down the field and fucking potentially in good ball straight away.
Some refs didn't blow it on the weekend.
They've been better at it, right?
Yeah, because they've got to really, and it's hard to question someone's credibility right there. It's just like, well, fuck, what if his neck is fucked?
Well, the refs
so the refs can't do that. And I feel sorry for the refs.
Yeah, it's a tough position for the refs.
It is a real tough position. You know, everything there else, I think they're on top of everything else with the HIAs, the head knocks, all that kind of stuff. They need to get that hip drop fucking out of the game.
Watch
Definitely.
out. But next year,
these ones,
with the cannonball and the hip drop, people, as soon as
Cannonball's sort of out.
as soon as anyone comes at the legs, I bet you next year players will start going, oh, fucking grabbing their ankle, stay on and be sweet, play
But
the rest of the game.
Like, I think Crichton did it on Friday night. You got to look at the worst case. I always look at the worst case scenario. What if he did hit him below the knee? What if he fucked his ACL up? Just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know
But the
what I mean?
thing is, mate.
Is it knee core? But that's just the way they've been trained. They come in, they try and collect legs. As I said, like we said it a couple of weeks ago, you got to survey the situation. If you can come in, you come in. They had that tackle in control. But it just makes it easier if you can sweep his legs. You got to come in, you got to grab a leg. There's ways around it. If you come in like that with like reckless ambition, you fucking get penalised. I don't care because I'm always looking at these players that are in that like in that predicament. It's just like you're not feeling safe, and then you come in and like you whack some leg out or something like that. The worst case scenario, you blow his leg out. You don't want that shit, man. Like just because you're not coming in the right technique. I hate that. So they really need to get rid of that.
And 100% right. So, but this is my point with it as well, Mase. If they end up doing those sorts of tackles and then just say it leads to a penalty or get on put on report, and if it's bad enough and they've got to go. But if a player is clutching at his ankle or knee for fucking 2 minutes and gets a penalty or carries on a little bit, just same thing. If he's got to if it's genuine and we've got to look after him, you've got to look after the ACL injury just as much as you look after a head, right? So go off. And if he's faking it, well, guess what? You might have cost your team 10 minutes on the field, and if you're a crucial player, then it could come back to bite you. So I think maybe something like that to deter players, because you don't want players like who actually get done for the proper tackles. Then we all start going, what's been tossed up this week? Is he faking? Like the Latrell Milk, Robbo being questioned about fucking Teddy taking a dive when he's clearly fucking knocked out. He doesn't come back on. Like it's the players that are making it worse for the players that genuinely get hurt. So if you deter them by going, all right, if you grab your head or you grab your neck from a crusher or you grab it from a cannonball type tackle, just go and sit on the sideline for maybe 5 minutes, maybe.
Because you know what players are like.
5 minutes,
if
maybe.
there's a grey area in the game,
they'll take advantage of it.
We're going to take advantage of it.
100%.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just like, okay, well, if you're coming out of yardage, if someone does something like that, because you know how hard it is to get out of yardage sometimes, especially against a team like Penrith and all those teams that just fucking hammer the shit out of you. If you get in that predicament, bang, say your neck's fucked. It's like it's unspoken. They're not going to sit there and game plan for it.
They don't talk about it.
But it's unspoken. You know what I mean? You get yourself in that position. If you feel pressure on your neck, grab your neck. That's what happens. You know what I mean? Like if there's so much grey area, and they will take advantage of it if they don't rule upon it.
And glass houses, Jacko, one thing before we move on. Glass houses, right? One of my things, my bread and butter, right? So I used to have like little late footwork at the line, and I would run in. It's like another version of it. I used to get late footwork, and I'd generally get an arm around here. And I used to play for it, right? So I'm not saying like if it's there and it's available, but if someone had said to me like 10 years ago my time, which was if I skip and I go, oh, I'm fucking get hit in the neck, you're going to sit like 5 minutes on the bench to get a head check, I probably wouldn't have carried on because I would have gone, well, fuck, it didn't hurt that much.
Yeah, just get up.
But I was milking it for a penalty, you know what I mean? So
I think you've solved it, Scope, with the NIA, the neck injury assessment.
Yeah, there you go.
I think Scope's just solved
little five of the best.
I just think the refs, hopefully they listen to someone. You know what I mean? They've got to sit around at the end of the day and just go, well, this is sort of, it's a bit of a black eye on the game, all this sort of stuff. People are bagging players about, they're questioning their credibility. Like just make sure, okay, if you are injured like that, there's some repercussions to it.
Yeah, listen to this. Look at this. Perfect. So, Luke, you just sent me this. Fox League put this up. Kenty and Crawley think Latrell continues to contradict himself when he speaks to the media about milking penalties. And then Latrell just wrote back, I live in Crawley's head rent-free. He's playing chess, not checkers, baby.
Guess what, Crawley?
He's got his all pickled.
Crawley and Kent. He
even got us. He got me. He got me last week, I'll admit it.
Crawley
got
and
me
Kent.
a beauty.
Trailmate does not give a fuck about what you say or think. Jesus
Love
Christ.
that. Love that.
Rent free, Crawley.
Rent free, baby.
You living at Vaucluse too. Rent free, baby.
Oh, that's a giggle.
Scope, just lastly before we move off that, on the milking, James Graham tossed it up. He was speaking a bit facetiously, but he spoke about potentially.
I love Jimmy Graham.
He's always got some good points, Jimmy.
He
Smart
spoke
motherfucker,
about
man.
in football how they now penalise players for milking. He said he'd like to see something like that. However, it would be hard because, like you said, Mase, the refs aren't doctors. But potentially, and he was exaggerating, but his point was like, if a guy goes down with a sore neck, he said play should be stopped. They should be made not to move. Stretcher comes out, neck brace.
Carry on.
He's just taking
So
it.
it's similar to my take, but
Similar.
like obviously
He was-
the extreme version.
He was taking the piss, but he basically said, if your neck's sore, you're fucking off. Was kind of,
awesome. Oh, that's all. I love Jammer.
Well,
so.
I think everyone who are ex-players like us, we sort of see that and just go, look, it is a bit of a blight on the game at the moment.
he knows the gamesmanship better than anyone.
We all know the gamesmanship, but we all played the game hard and fair.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to knock me out not to get up. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit what I cop. If there's a head knock, like we played against. Understand this? We were playing against the Melbourne Storm when the fucking head crushers and neck crushers were legal.
Well,
I was
legit.
like, we were like the fucking guinea pigs for it. I said, what the fuck is this? Do you know what I mean? Like, three
those
blokes,
early days,
chicken
bruh.
wings and shit. Like, it was about 2003, 2004 started coming in. They started getting John Donahue, the fucking ninja. Like he used
is a black
to
belt.
coach like Randy Couture and shit like that.
Yeah.
And he's coming over teaching you like it was like they had a pack that they weren't that big and they weren't as successful as they were now. But that's how they started to even it up, because you had big packs like Penrith, Roosters, Dogs used to run straight through them. Then they started slowing the ruck down. This is the whole thing of the wrestling.
How it developed.
This is how it developed, because they couldn't deal with bigger packs and they had a smaller pack. So they'd slow these fucking things down. Kearney was involved in it. Kidwell was down there. They didn't have a really big pack, but they were fucking next minute you're in these tackles and you just feel this fucking proper head check. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just that fucking head crushes.
I'd come in when they
You just
perfected
wouldn't
it.
know. You didn't know what the hell was going on. You just get them play the ball and just try and fight whoever was a marker, because they just get off and just piss off. You know what I mean? Matt Geyer. Remember Matt Geyer?
Yeah.
He was a fucking king at it. He used to come in, he'd fucking head crush me and then just fuck off to the wing. I'll be just in disarray going, where the fuck, who did that? You know what I mean? Just get up and I said, you cheeky little, he'd just start like, he'd be like, come get me, fuck off, you know, you can't get him.
Yeah.
And then like, if it was a middle doing it to a middle, it'd be a fight. Because you felt so uncomfortable, and the chicken wings and
You'd lose your breath. Like the ones that they
it's
used
just
to do,
'cause
you'd
don't
lose your
feel
breath
safe.
properly.
It's just like you don't, and because we cop the proper ones. So like still no one stood down. We just got up and played the ball and just someone's gonna get punched in the head. That's all I'd say to the scrum. You fucking do that again, someone's getting a punch in the head. That's it. Fucking Ogre and all these other blokes just sitting there going, we didn't know what's going on. Like, I don't know what's going on here, boys, but anyone does that shit again, it's fucking on the next scrum. That's how you get to get over it.
The Chris Tucker meme where he's like, who kicked me?
Yeah.
It's like, who hit me? And the winger.
that from, Rush Hour?
It was Matt Guy just going like that. Matt Guy like this. Fucking all the way back to on the sting.
All right, Scope.
On the
Speaking of flexing, the Panthers flexed their muscle against Parra on the weekend. Sort of brought up the topic around, y'all must have forgot. Are the Panthers back to top of the heap and everyone else a distant second, given the fact that we saw the Roosters and Storm eliminated over the weekend?
Go on, mate. You
Yeah,
get into this
I
one.
agree. Penrith just flexed. They did big time, man. Like everyone, I was sort of going like I picked every other winner, but I sort of gave Penrith Parra a chance.
We were the same. We both all took the Dogs,
were just
didn't we?
Yeah, well, I think they had the team to sort of beat them. They got the front rows, they got the back rows. Sean Lane missing. Madison probably their best forward. Paulo got handled. Campbell Gillard got handled. Fisher Harrison, Leota, and fucking the middles and Yo were just pumping him.
Mitch Kenny, bro.
Mitch Kenny was just going
He was pumping
nuts.
Regan Campbell-Gillard.
Yeah. And Leota, man, he's that unsung hero in that pack.
Yeah, he
I think
is.
Fisher Harris was a beast as well, but they were hitting so good. Their technique is unbelievable. They hit so hard. They hit as a team. I just think they went, you know what? If you think you're near us, you're nowhere near it. And I'm not blaming Moses. Like I look at the technique on Mitchell Moses sometimes. He handled kick out so good.
Yeah,
There's no need for why put your head in that position? You're out, you got caught on the inside shoulder. Just hold your ground. You're going to get run over. Don't try and put your head there, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then these are things that you got to learn as a player. You just don't ever get put in that position. Like, even though Kiko's got late footwork, he still wasn't in a position to get knocked out. He put his head right in his hip. Like, just if he leaves it straight and just tries to just...
He did such a good job all night,
And I
before
thought he did
that.
a great job. But yeah, you had Papali'i next to him, mate.
Yeah.
Let's not get that twisted.
Yeah.
And now I think they both cancelled...
Sweat.
They both cancelled each other out. I think Papali'i and Kikau both cancelled each other out. They were both good defenders, both good runners. And obviously he's going to try and get Moses and Papali'i's going to try and get, was it Cleary be on that side, the left side?
Luai.
Or like
Luai,
Luai, she's
Luai,
going to try and get Luai. So it was all like
They're very good defensive.
tit for tat. You know, Sean Lane was getting handed on that left edge. They just didn't play. They just looked out of sync. You know what I mean? Everything before that, they were hitting holes good. You know, Lane's hitting those good holes. But this is what happens with pressure. And this is what happens when you go up another level where Penrith have that another level.
They've got the experience of it.
But they've got
don't
experience, but they can go up another level.
Yeah.
They're at Penrith Stadium. They just went from, just say they were sitting at a 7, they just went straight to a 9.5. And then they couldn't keep up with it. There were drop balls, there was this and that. The kicking game was off, kick pressure. They just don't stop. They're relentless, Penrith. They are relentless. Their bench comes on Lienu, and this is where we thought they were going to get him. Jake Arthur comes on. He just looks like, if I was him, I would honestly tell my dad, I'd be like, I don't want to play. I'd say, look, I don't belong at this level.
Not just yet. He's still a bit away.
Put someone else out there.
He's still a bit away.
I think he's a
But
good...
it was good
and that's
coverage
the
for when
difference-
Moses went down,
That's the difference between reserve grade and first grade. It is ridiculous. I could probably go back to fucking reserve grade now and play. It ain't that hard. It wasn't like it was when, just say, 15 years ago where Reggie's, you had OGs back there, played 200 games, 150 games, all these sort of players back there. There's a big difference, mate. And, like, he just got thrown straight to the wolves. You know what I mean? Like, I think in a perfect world, I don't think Jake Arthur would have played. He probably would have sat there, probably played the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's how they'd been used in the previous couple of weeks. That's why I pointed to
surely they've got someone else in that team that can play a hooker role, a 7 role. Do you know someone else in reserve grade?
They got Bryce Cartwright.
Bryce Cartwright. Well, why the hell can't he come on and just create?
Ray Stone was their guy, but he did his ACL.
Yeah, but like, I'd rather Bryce Cartwright come off the bench and you just like, he's got that X factor. He tackles well. If you tell him a job, he'll get out there and he'll play that job. He can play halfback. He can play 5'8". He can play any position. The kid can just play, but he can fucking defend. You got to be able to defend. This is the finals. You can't have any weaknesses in your whole 17. And there's a weakness there, and they're going to get exploited. You don't think Moses is going to get run out by edge back rolls all game trying to knock him out? This is what happens, people, at home. If I see someone who's wounded and he's sitting there and he's man enough to play the game, I'm fucking running elbows and knees and hips at his head all game. Unlucky. It's just the way it is. Dog eat dog world. I'm bigger, stronger, faster than you. You fucking try and deal with me.
I just said to the boys
if he comes off, your job's done. Then you got to put Arthur back on.
I just said to the boys outside talking about the preview, I said, you don't think Sticky's going to be sending Jack White and Hudson Young at Mitch Moses this week?
Everyone. Tapane, Papali'i they can bounce out. They got footwork, man. They don't have to play in the middle.
100%.
You can just get off that 7 and just go and beeline for him.
Savage is a cunt of a tackle too. He runs so fucking hard, Savage, when he sweeps left like that.
Yeah.
Bro, and they're going to go at him as if you're not going to go at him.
runner.
I know what Sticky's like as a coach. You see weaknesses, you go for it. You foot on the throat, go for it, because they know when if Moses is done, they're done. That's how it is. I want Dylan Brown. Hey, all these guys that were killing it in the run in to the finals, come up against the big dogs. I want to see you fucking act like a big dog. You know what I mean? Like, play to that level that you were when you were dusting up all these other teams. Like Sean Lane, there's an APB out for him. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't fucking see him. When he was hitting holes, and I was fucking calling him. I was like 2 weeks ago, I was just saying he's a smoky for the Australian team. You got to perform at the big time, mate. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. Paulo and RCG can't do fucking cop all these hits. You got to get your ass in the middle somewhere. If the game ain't coming to you, you take the game. Semi-finals will just go like that. Next minute's half time, you've had 3 hit-ups. Fucking not good enough. I want my back rollers getting 10, 15 a game.
I tell you,
15 to 20 a game. Combinations between Paulo and Lane and fucking and RCG and Papali'i and Madison. That's the difference between having a good lock that can move the forwards a little bit further. Look what Cam Murray did. Move the forwards, got to toe a little bit wider, coming here, Kalol Matangi hitting those holes. Didn't do it the week before because you didn't have that ball, that class 13. He's just like, Madison is just like another front rower. There's no ball playing because he comes off the bench. He just wants to do his stats. You know what I mean? A couple of offloads here, where just say a great man like Gus Gould always used to say when you come off the bench, try and get a tip on. Try and tip it on to the guys that have been on there for 25 minutes. Try and get them in the game still. Try and, keep it there. Don't go on there and just look for your fucking stats. They just didn't play as a team. They've got a lot of questions to ask this week.
I'll tell you what a crucial part for me was, and they talked about it on the NRL footy show, Ches was on there and Freddie mentioned it as well. I thought Moses was good. Like for the first half, right? Despite Penrith really like dominating possession, they weren't dominating the scoreboard. You got to remember, there was an opportunity where Moses went down there, had a crack at a field goal with 2 minutes to go, and it was a fucking power move by Cleary to go very next set, bang that field goal and say,
there's a difference.
See what you tried to do? I just did it to you. So he had a mental edge going into half time. Ches was talking about it on the footy show, and he was talking about you take that in. Like it's the game's in the balance. It's going tit for tat. Yeah, Penrith are dominating, but it was still 6-all. And then Nath just goes 7-6. And then that just built momentum for the second half. And although the thing that stands out is obviously they targeted Wonga Blake, but I thought that kick in particular was crucial.
Cleary's kick in game was ridiculous. Honestly, he's just been in the lab, just going, I'm just going to be doing this. He's been doing video, he's been studying, he's been doing film. Shout out to him, what he's been doing, because he could have easily taken 5 weeks off. Not 5, I mean, probably about 2 or 3. Probably did do about 2 or 3 last couple of 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, just non-stop kicking, just trying. I've never seen that kick before. It's like a reverse torpy floater.
Well, he
you know what I mean? And like Wonga Blake, like I mean,
source with it a few
it's deflating for middles who work their asses off the fucking whole game, and the winger's one job is to catch a fucking ball. You know, you've been defending the whole time, 2 sets and everything like that, and then they kick it to you. You expect your wingers to catch it, drop. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that's, I mean, the whole morale goes out. You know that.
He sourced him. You know Josh Mansell? That's his name.
Josh Mansell can't even get a gig.
I've played more first grade than Josh Mansell since that fucking time. Like he fucking sourced him. He got like, and that's respectfully. I'm obviously
and he could possibly do it to Wonga Blake, because Wonga Blake he looked like nothing. He could not catch.
And you know the thing that's the same with those two. They've both played at Penrith. So Nathan knows them.
Yeah, and he'd be in their head rent free. But they live at Penrith.
Latrell Mitten Crawley.
They live at Penrith, but it's all right.
Mase, what did you make of, because we spoke about last week, there was some concerns. I think the reason both of you just tipped Panthers, Eels rather, was saying that you thought Nath might be a little bit rusty.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Wrong. Totally wrong. Yeah. Totally wrong. He just got into the game, warmed into the game, just got better. And you could just see by his kicking game. Like even like when they'll go on tit for tat for those 10 minutes, he was putting them on a dime, those cage kicks, catching on the 10, they'll get into the 20. You know what I mean? They'll just win in that arm wrestle. And that's a mental thing to Penrith. And that's what Parramatta need to get into. They just need to do that tit for tat play until someone forces a mistake. And then he got that mistake out of Wonga Blake. And then bang, that's a win.
The original question is Penrith in distance second. Yeah, it is now. It would have been different if Roosters and Rabbitohs had knocked each other out. So if Roosters and Rabbitohs were still available and were getting healthy and they were on different sides and if Penrith had to potentially beat both of them, it would make it a lot harder, but it is. Penrith are just a clinic.
So who's on the Penrith side?
So they've got to come up. So Rabbitohs or Sharks.
See, the Penrith are just sitting out the mountains just going, please.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm going to eat both of you.
Before we move off that,
Prince is kicking footies from Penrith to fucking Blue Mountains now.
See those mountains?
To the Three Sisters.
See those mountains?
The Three Sisters walk.
Those mountains like Uncle.
He's kicking them to the Three Sisters. Wonga Blake's over there doing
He's torping it, and it's going from the third sister and then in between the first and second. From Penrith Stadium. That's what he's doing for kicking practice.
Well,
so we throw this ball over those mountains. Uncle Rico.
We did speak a little bit about the distance second now that the Roosters and Storm are eliminated. So let's roll on to the Storm.
Yep.
The end of an era question obviously always gets tossed up whenever the Storm basically don't win a comp. But with Munster's uncertainty continuing to November 1, obviously they're losing Cheese, and then Bellamy's future is uncertain.
And half that forward pack.
What do you make exactly, both the Broncos boys, Kafusi? Scope, what do you make of, I suppose, Bellamy's future and Melbourne's future?
Well, that's the biggest concern, Mase. Like the fact that I think Bellamy was on NRL 9 a couple of weeks ago and he said he's, uncertainty past 2023. And then obviously with Prez, like with Munster, I dare say that would play a big part into why he hasn't re-signed as well. So, it all. The reason you've never fucking put a line through Melbourne, despite all the players that have moved on, they had the fucking big three. They had fucking so many good players over the years, but they've always had Bellamy. So even with some of the role players that they've had over the years, you're always going, fuck, they're a bit top heavy. They've got fucking all this cap put into Cronk, Slater, and you don't really know, like, Norrie, is he going to be a player? Like Todd Lowry goes down there. They all overperformed because they were coached by the GOAT, like one of the best ever.
Culture.
So if they don't have Bellamy, then I can't, like, as high as I am on Alisi Katoa, do I think he develops the same as I would think if Bellamy was down there for the next 5 years? Probably not. I think he'll have a big year next year. I like Tarek Sims going down there. I like the progression of some of the guys like Trent Liero that are coming through. I think he can be a real player. But am I...
Right centre too?
I'm Marion Sever. I'm not as confident, though, without Bellamy. So that's the biggest thing.
No, mate. As soon as he said those words, I've never heard those words come out. Very uncertain about next year could be over. Pretty much. Not those words, but like he said, after next year, he could retire. Yeah, no shit. That's why the Prez hasn't signed. Like, you want Bellamy as your coach. Like, you want that. You know what I mean? Like, if he's uncertain about his future, if I'm anyone down in that club that's been there for a while, Jerome Hughes and Munster, I'm uncertain about mine because they play for that guy like on another level. You know what I mean? They love Belly. He's so beloved down there, so respected. Probably he's the top 3 best coach of all time, and he's been part of that fabric and the culture since 2003 or 2004. So it's
crazy,
to have that
20 years,
and
man.
20 years, and that's a long time. He's coached at the highest level, Australian teams and New South Wales. There's not much he can't achieve. And if he wants to have a couple of years off and then come back into it, he's more than welcome to, because he's probably been highly stressed. He looks like he's stressed a fair bit after games and before games and during games. But Belly, I've had a great relationship with Belly since I was about 18, 19. He's just so smart. Like, even when I went down and I was sort of getting into coaching, most coaches wouldn't really, come up to you. He goes, mate, you should give me a big hug and what's going on, what's up? He goes, you getting into coaching? I said, yeah, I might. He goes, if you need anything, give me a ring. You know what I mean? Not many coaches would do that.
Yeah.
Only the guys that are real safe and sure of themselves. The Wayne Bennett's, the Craig Bellamy's, the Trent Robinsons, blokes like that. So him being away from the Storm, he's as important as a Billy Slater, a Cam Smith, a GI, all those players that have come through his system. He's just as important as those guys. That's how much of a role he has down there. Because he doesn't understand, there's not one Melbourne kid playing for them. They haven't been. They're not homegrown. You know what I mean? You've got to get these kids and pick them, like Harry Grant. How the fuck did they get Harry Grant after a Cam Smith? Like, that's just the club that they are.
And cheese.
And cheese, see, players like that, they'll be questioning their future if Belly's not there.
Yeah, young kid coming down will question it if it's...
What about Harry Grant?
Unless it's Billy Slater.
But what
if they get Billy?
If it's Bill, which I think it might be Bill, or it could be Cam.
Yeah.
Because one of them needs to coach Origin. Do you know what I mean? So you can't coach Origin, you can't do this. So Bill might want to be, okay, well, I might chuck my hat into the coaching ring 24/7. Cam might go, yeah, I'll coach Origin.
Yeah.
No one fucking misses a beat because they all do that sort of stuff anyway. JT could do that, all those sort of players. But it'll definitely be Cam or Bill coaching.
You think Cam, eh? I
just think, and I think I'm not sure where they're living right now at the moment. I think they might be in Queensland or they might be in Melbourne.
Billy's down there because he has some.
Well, he does a lot of things. Billy.
He works with the fullbacks and the outside backs,
and he does a bit of AFL and all that kind of stuff as well. So he's a bit of a genius. But I think it depends what Cam Smith wants to do. He could do whatever he wants, and that both of those guys could easily slot into that role. But Billy's got experience in coaching now. He just won an Origin series. You know
he
what I mean?
also said before Origin, Billy said that he never had any aspirations to coach Origin.
He said that on Kempy's
now
bloke in a bar.
But now you get that. But you get that little bit of you dip your toe in, and you go, "Fuck, this is." You enjoy coaching players and making them better people and watching them win. Even though you've done everything, you've achieved everything in the game. I'm in that predicament now where I'm just like, I sort of just want to make these players better because I know I've got a lot of knowledge in my head. What's the point of just keeping it at home watching fucking Super Saturday and podcasts and shit like that, where I can actually put my foot on the ground, boots on the ground, go in there and try and help these kids and go, okay, well, these are my ideas. I'm not far off what everyone else is thinking, what top coaches are thinking. We're all on the same page. Like, I know the game, I understand the game, I understand people more, and that's half your battle.
100%.
And these young coaches, the Wayne Bennett's and the Bellamy's they're not going to coach forever. That's why everyone will start trickling from those trees in the next 5 to 6 years. Like the Rolesies are out there, Fitzies are out there. So the Robinson tree and the Bellamy tree are going to start,
So to Jacko's point about, Billy Slater, before Origin 3, he went on Kempy's podcast, SEN, with Cam Smith, and Kempy asked him, he goes, did you, is this, everything you dreamed of? And he goes, to be fair, I didn't dream of this sort of role. It's sort of just been, thrust upon me in the last couple of
He
years.
said my state needed me.
Yeah, the state needed him and all that sort of stuff. When he was on the footy show though, after it had been done, he said a comment like, he can understand why people want to coach like now, like he's addicted. He was like,
It's a different rush, I suppose.
I'm paraphrasing now. I could be getting it wrong, but he's like, he didn't realise the joy that he'd get out of coaching and winning a series as a coach, because it was like a family, more of a family. Like he obviously felt it as a player, but it was more as a coach. It felt like
It's just a different vibe.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it?
so-
It'd be a different vibe, because as a player winning Origins, winning grand finals and stuff, like it's just about like when you're in the sheds and you're with the boys and you don't really grasp the whole situation. Where as a coach, you look at the building of it, the selections, the training, the hard work you put in.
It's your ID.
The hard work they've put in, the coaching staff's put in. So I think, and you can really, really appreciate it as a coach. But that's what he was
alluding
a whole
to.
different twist on it. Where if you haven't achieved anything as a player, and then you go into coaching and you achieve stuff as a coach, you don't get that feeling like Bill would.
Yeah.
Not many people have done what Billy has done and then transfers into the coaching as well. Like Fatty Vorton did it. I think a couple other former players did it. Like you're talking.
It's rare.
It's
Yeah.
very rare. You've got to go back, like with Bob Fultons and all those sort of guys. And
So it would be different
Ricky
for me
Stewart,
if,
Laurie Daly,
depending
guys
on
like
who
that.
the next Storm coach is, Mace, will determine for me. If the succession plan is Bill, then I've got all the faith in the world, because everyone who I spoke to, whether it's been Ches, whether it's been Normie, whether it's been Prez, all the guys that I was going to say the best of the best, and Mutters, we hold him in high regard here, Normie, because he's part of the fabric. But all these guys that are being coached by him, just even in a like minor way that Billy coached Normie in his Origin, is like, everyone just speaks highly of how well he communicates, because that's the hardest part, mate. It's like you talking about you being a people person, understanding like people and then communicating, because some guys just don't. They don't know how to communicate. So if he was the succession plan, then obviously
that would change would change Melbourne.
that changed the narrative with them moving forward for sure.
Okay, well, let's finish off with a quick bit of boxing before we get into the NRLW preview, Skip, because Mase, your boy, Hodggo, taking on Gal, and
Taking on the 44-gallon drum.
taking on the 44-gallon drum.
Run it straight.
Scope,
What
did
about
you-
that?
Run at me.
What did you make of that, Mase?
I
the,
love it.
presser?
I mean, if you're a boxing purist, you probably think this is just an absolute joke. But it is what it is. Like this is 2022, and anyone can fight, and it's just like social media, and everything gets behind it. And No Limit's done a great job. Gal's their little cash cow. Hodggo has been trying to call Gal out for a while, which is fucking stupid, because Gal's a machine. You know what I mean? Like, he's fighting 4-2s, then he fights Ben Hannett.
Does he go Hannett first though, eh?
No, he goes Hodggo.
Oh, does he? Hodges first.
Hodggo.
He doesn't know?
I think they said it last
Oh,
week.
they're going to Royal Rumble it?
Yeah,
Fuck off, are they? Oh,
No. I think they said there's an hour between.
Wait. Lukey's been chatting to No Limit. So what's the go, Lukey?
Yeah. So what Lukey's trying to explain
we've
is
been chatting to the No Limit boys about it.
the narrative was that he was going to fight Hodggo first. That was the understanding. Apparently now,
Yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's what we thought.
He will walk out into the ring not knowing which opponent is going to come out, and it'll either be Hodggo or Hannett first.
I don't think he gives a fuck. Gal's a machine. I honestly don't think he cares. He's just going to go out there. He's been training so hard. Just look at the rigs on all three. Look at him. There's two mutters up there.
Yeah, get
Like
back to the...
Hodggo and a Benny Hannett, and then you got Gal, who looks like a fucking 25-year-old.
Speaking of most ordinary rigs, it'd have to be Hannett would be one of the OGs for worst rigs
Mate,
ever.
but Benny Hannett did a triathlon. I love Benny Hannett, and I love Hodggo, and I love Gal.
Yeah.
I love all three of them. But because it's a fucking state versus state thing, I'm going for Gal.
Yeah, 100%.
But the thing is, Benny Hannett, he did a triathlon. He showed me these photos when we had that fight up about a year or two ago up in North Queensland when he fought, I think he fought Big Papa. And he went
he
all
did.
right. Yeah, fought Big Papa. Anyway, so like he showed me photos. He did a triathlon, and he was so fucking fit and
He's
ripped.
fit, bruh.
But he's
Ben
fit as
Hannett's
hell.
fit
But
as,
then he
yeah.
obviously he can put a bit back on too.
Were you at the Roosters when Hannett was there back in the day, or did he moved on to somewhere, gone to
moved. When
Cowboys?
he went to Brisbane, then he went to the
Brisbane
Dogs,
Cowboys.
and then he went back. Yeah.
He used to win all the fitness things for all the,
Mate, he's
for all
fit
the
as hell.
forwards.
He goes hard. I love Benny. I love, as I said,
But
love
mutters,
Benny,
proper
love
mutters.
Proper mutters. And Hodggo, like, I think it's just a money grab for everyone, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, but with Gal, it's a genuine. Gal just hates Queenslanders, and he will put that in his head, and he does not give a fuck. He'll go out there and destroy both of them.
Yeah, Gal was in here the other day picking up a couple of hoodies from the G'd Up boys, and the boys are like, "It's not every day because we're about to go to golf."
He's got 1,000 sponsors.
Jacko goes, "It's not every day you do a podcast with Willie Mason." Paul Gallen rolls into and we run into him before G'd Up, and then we're about to go do the golf show with Daly Cherry Evans and Kieran Foran. He goes, "Jacko, coming from my background," he goes, "This is a great day."
What do you think will happen? Sorry, what do you boys think will happen on the night? Honestly.
I
think Gal will knock them both out.
Straight up, straight up, because they're doing 4-2s too, so Gal ain't going to hold anything back. And the dude can box, man.
Yeah.
This is no joke. This is no joke for him. He's been fighting like
Justice Hooney.
Dudes that can actually throw
Justice
down.
Hooney's legit.
Big Daddy.
Justice Hooney is legit.
What about Big Daddy? You know what I mean? Like, he knocked him out. Like John Hopewadi. Like all these guys that he's just been cleaning up. He's sitting there, and you can see in his eyes. He's, I'm going to kill both of you.
You know, to throw a massive spanner in the works, if, let's say, Hodggo goes out there and against Gallen first, and Hodggo, by some miracle, knocks him out, Hodggo then has to fight Hannat after, because whoever wins that fight has to fight second. That'd fuck the promotion up properly.
That would ruin everything.
Imagine if that happened. It only takes one punch.
I just don't think. And look at the hits that Gallen's copped. I don't think Hodggo has the power to knock him out.
No.
Look at that head. You can't knock that head out.
If you can't knock out Simi.
Hooney put it on him. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Simi, yeah. Hooney put it on him and give him about a 12-piece every single second. No knockout. Mark Hunt hit him with a beauty. Yeah. No knockout. Come on, man. You're not knocking that guy out. He's going to fucking outwork you regardless, and he's going to get you on points or knock you out. So there's no fucking way you can knock him out. Like Ben Hannon and Hodggo haven't knocked anyone out. This is just facts.
Yeah, they haven't,
This is facts. This is straight up facts. You know what I mean? And I think he could sit there and just cop Hodggo's best and Hannon's best and just sit there and go, is that it? And then just fucking rip his body apart and then just knock him out. It's going to be hilarious. I love all three of them. Yeah. They're all fucking close mates, good people.
Yeah.
It's all about paper.
I'll be tuning in No Limit for a giggle.
Get your bag, boys, and just chill.
Yeah.
Well, Hodggo took the best from your mate Jordan Simi, so you can take a punch too.
Yeah, Steve. It wasn't much, was it? The best though. It was awful.
I'd love to see that fight again.
One fight you would want to see again, Mase. What about Mark Hunt taking on your boy Sonny Bill? Because that was another one announced. What do you make?
That's a big one.
I think the Gallen and Sonny thing has sort of fizzled out. I think they just couldn't come to terms. Sonny sort of elaborated it a little bit more with his interview. If you listen to that, you'll understand what happened.
But what do you say in that interview?
I just think, I think the offer was tabled, and
they just couldn't meet the right price.
Who's A, who's B? You know who's A, like Sonny is.
Sonny's
he's fucking Sonny Bill. He's known worldwide nearly.
And just quickly on that, like boxing in terms of boxing and like who's got the more runs on the board, it's Gal, but people won't pay to see Gal overseas. People will tune in from overseas to see Sonny.
You'll see the whole of New Zealand will tune in. Yeah. South Africa will tune in. England will tune in.
They love him in Japan.
Japan will tune in. They'll end up
Toronto. Toronto Wolfpack.
The Wolfpack will tune in. So he crosses a lot of things. They just couldn't come to an agreement. Anyway, maybe after this fight, when they both fight this, and they'll probably maybe renegotiate and just fucking get it done. Because there's a lot of money to be left on the table if they don't fight.
Yeah, they've got to fight.
And Sonny, and the thing about Sonny is, man, he don't give a fuck about money.
Yeah.
He's all about principle and morals, that kid. And if you cross it, you're fucked. So the big also, like Mark Hunt, it's going to be interesting because they're both highly respected people in their communities.
And they respect each other.
They're both Samoan boys. They're both fucking brothers, you know what I mean? Like, Sonny would have been looking up to him for years, and he would have been looking up to Sonny in his union days and all that kind of stuff. And now they've got to go in there and do they go, is there hatred in there? Or is this a proper, but I know, knowing both personally, it's just like they'll both try and fucking kill each other. It's a when it becomes tribal, and it's just like, brother versus brother, tribe versus tribe, that's when you're going to get that shit. And I think styles make fights. Like Mark Hunt, Gal, similar size. Sonny 6'5", long reach. You know what I mean? But, do you want to get caught with one of those fucking Mark Hunt bombs? Which will be his only sort of like go-to when Sonny comes in a little bit, he'll fucking like, fuck that. No. You know what I mean? Like Sonny will just have to box, and just like, Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you want to get in there and rumble with Mark Hunt?
No.
The dude's known for if you're an inch away from him, he's got that power to just fucking knock people out. And Mark Hunt's, he's 50 years old, but he's still a warrior, man. He's never going to stop fighting that kid. Not kid, that man. You know what I mean? Like, and Sonny's 37. He's, going to be a good fight, man.
Good fight. And make sure you tune in No Limit on Thursday. Watch Gal do his thing.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. I'm going to go up tomorrow. I'm going to watch the fight.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I'll go up. I swear, I'll be the only one supporting Gal. Yeah. I might walk out with him, hold his belts.
All right, Skip.
NRLW?
Floor is yours. Give me your NRLW preview before we rip into the final two games.
All right, apologies for missing it last week. Had a nice little weekend away from Noosh, went up to Coffs Harbour. Didn't get to watch as much footy as I'd like, but I had a good run me over it over the weekend. The one thing I just want to say first and foremost, the girls about to roll in the finals. Fuck, it's been another good season. It's been really competitive. There's only really been one blowout, and then that was surprisingly, it was the grand final rematch in the Roosters versus Dragons. So moving on to the Broncos versus Parra. Broncos still have points in them of years past. The tries from Shazolka and Chapman were unbelievable, but they really missed the work of Millie Boyle through the middle, Jacko. Tamika Upton, that's like...
Where were they?
They were with what? Who'd they play?
Were they out? I'm just saying.
No, they've moved on. They've gone down to Newcastle.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But Upton, just the chat and her defensive through the middle. I think it's really been a highlight that they've sort of got done through the middle and tiring through the middle. Parra also missed the middle presence. The Sherringtons off the bench. I think they've got to be inserted. I know Kennedy starts sometimes. The left edges looked really good for him, though. Ash Quinlan has really opened him up. I think that Zali Faye is going to be a real player. I think Broncos class will just get him over the top of Parra this week. Your girl Georgia Hale's been unreal, Jacko.
Shout out, G.
Oh, proper like silky through the middle. She's playing like she's playing.
She was a half coming through.
Yeah, I know. You can see it in her. She's got that 13 role perfectly, a bit like her NRL counterparts. I love that they finally moved Eviani Polite back to fullback. It opens it up. Titans will be tricky, right? Because if they can sneak in, there's something about the Titans, but compared to the other teams.
That was my preseason pick, Skip.
Yeah, well, they need to win a game to get in, and they've got to come up against the Chooks, unfortunately, who will be debuting Jada Taylor, who was the star of the under-19s game. They were lucky to escape against the Knights team, especially considering they were missing Upton. They should have, probably should have been more convincing, but defense was too strong in the end. Isabel Kelly races away with the try in that game. I think the Chooks will be too good, therefore open it up for the Broncos to sneak in. They'll sneak into the fourth position, and the Eels and Titans will miss out. The Dragons and Knights are basically playing what could be a matchup, a bit like South and Roosters in the NRL. I think they're a good chance of going head-to-head, second versus third, first week of finals. The thing about the Dragons this year, they've just found a way to win a lot of the games. Hasn't been as pretty as last year. I think it'll serve them well when it comes to finals. Keely Davis is unreal. Like a lot of their best work has been done through her through the middle. She obviously played for New South Wales
what about
this year.
Sowie Sislak?
Sislak? Yeah, oh, yeah.
The big Mo Sislak.
Big Mo. He's looking like...
looks like Cheech and Chong.
No, who does he look like?
Is it a dude from Cheech and Chong? What's his name? Which one? Cheech?
What's the Napoleon Dynamite tooth? Vote for Pedro?
Pedro.
He's Pedro. He's got a bit of Pedro about him.
Little Pedro.
But they'll be sweet come final. I think it will serve them well. I keep talking about her. Jesse Southwell will be the best player in the comp by the end of next year.
Joey said as much on Sunday. Joey just said, he goes, I know I talk about it every week. But he goes, I can't stop
I must have
watching
missed that
play."
bit.
Yeah.
When was that? Was that late in the show?
No, it was.
I watched the cherry bit and then I didn't, and then I checked out.
It was on his show with whatever one he does with Danica and Freddie.
Whatever
they do.
The Immortal. The Immortal show or something.
Immortal show.
Something Immortal.
But
That's good.
It's the best television product going around in footy at the moment. It's
a bit cool.
Obviously.
That's a bit cool. It's boring as fuck.
Who else? I wrote down as well while I was watching the game.
Is that where Joey just dresses up and just has a Nike shirt on?
Yeah, he's just,
it's the worst. It's just like he's come from Chloe Pub.
But he just tells all those porkies that he tells you like when you're down at the pub.
Yeah, I love
them. I was lucky enough to jag a couple of those during our time at Manly. They're the best. He'd even tell you, hey, it's a bit like
mate. We just sit there. We just tell the same stories every time we see each other, and just add a little bit more GST on. It fucking gets better and better.
But the Knights. that her sister, Hannah Southwell, they would have won the comp. I would have been confident in backing them if they won the comp.
What position is Hannah? And what
Hannah's the
position
lock,
is Jessie?
and Jessie's the halfback.
Ah.
She's got like a little nuggety Joey build. That's why Joey loves her so much.
Joey
too.
would be thinking that's just...
But Joey's working with her too.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, Joey's working with her. She's a gun. The Knights, they'll be tricky. I think if Hannah Southwell was playing, I would have liked the Knights for this comp, but I think it'll come down. Yeah, I think, that's a tough one. Yeah, I'll probably take Dragons on class, but I wouldn't be surprised if Knights beat them. Yeah, there you go. NRL preview. There you go.
Nice.
Good luck to the girls rolling into the finals, fighting for that top 4 position.
Good luck to the girls. Go the Titans. All right, Skip.
Go the
Let's
Knights.
start.
Come on.
Friday night, we've got to see it. It's time. Combank Stadium. Parramatta are taking on the red-hot Canberra Raiders. The line is 6.5. The over-under is 41.5.
8 from 8, Canberra at the moment? Or 7 from 7?
No, they've won 8 on the trot. Yep. Yep, they're flying.
Plus 6.5 straight away. Plus 6.5. I'll be taking Canberra to win the game, by the way. There's a little fucking
What are they paying?
265, but plus 6.5, that's jam. I'll be having a look at that. Moses is named despite head knock. Adam Elliott's out. He's been all right for him off the bench, Mase.
Really good. He's been, he's been starting most the backs when they've been winning, so he's been an integral part of there. So Harawira is pretty good too, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're not really losing much. Ryan Sutton comes back onto the bench, so you're not really losing. You're not really losing that much because Ryan Sutton will probably be getting that English team. He's pretty good, but
he will
Sticky,
for sure.
You know Sticky how he never takes things personal. So as soon as he signed with the Dogs, he's fucking on the bench. He's not. He's 18th.
Oh, is he coming over the Dogs? Is he?
So
he's a
at the
solid
Dogs,
player.
So I can't wait to work with him. He'll be good.
Yeah,
so you got the Bra, you got Emre Gula, Starling, and Sutton. You're not really losing much, and you put Harawira who's got that offload in him. He's got good footwork. He's got a bit of ball playing. I don't think you lose much with Adam Elliott out.
My 2 X factors for the game, Mase. Parramatta's X factor has to be Mitch Moses because, like we talked about before, he's going to get. It's not necessarily an attack. Sticky's going to send all 13 players at him if he
Arsenal
can.
at him.
And they're all. We talk about it every week. They're fucking dogs down there. They're going to be like. Imagine Hudson Young before the game, like fucking Sticky getting into him and. You'd have to put him on a leash and fucking warm up. Easy, Huddy.
Yeah.
Easy, Huddy. Because he's going to be fucking going crazy by the time he gets out there. And Jack Whiten doesn't want to step for a 5'8". He wants to run straight over him. So
I think the X factor for Parra is Dylan Brown. He has to play. He has to run.
He has to kill it.
I thought Moses had he had a crack last week. He tried to get his troops going. He went off injured. Unlucky.
Yeah.
But Dylan Brown is that dude. He had 3 runs last week. And I want him to take.
Did he really?
I want him,
3 runs.
Yeah, and that's what. And if he's not getting the ball, Lane's not getting the ball. You know what I mean? So it takes them both out. So Lane needs to get into when semi-finals come, the ball's not going to come to you all the time. You're not going to get that mad ball hitting outside in lines, all that kind of stuff. Lane just needs to get a little bit closer to the ruck. He only had 10 hit-ups last week. He didn't play the whole game. He usually plays 80. So he wasn't really doing much damage there.
That's a good one on Brown, actually. The more I think about it, Brown's had a couple of quiet games. Every time he's had a quiet game, he's had a fucking cracker 3 to 4 weeks. So that's a good one. Brown.
Having Micah Sevo and Wanga Blake is great sometimes. It's rocks or diamonds.
Yeah, it's
and
tough.
last week were rocks for both of them.
Would you have, if you were BA, would you have picked Wanga Blake for this week, or would you have gone with Bailey Simons?
Yeah, I'm picking him. I think he's been outstanding. He doesn't warrant to get dropped.
He's a better option still than Bailey Simonson in your eyes?
Yeah.
No.
You keep Wanga Blake.
I'm keeping Wanga Blake.
Yeah.
Because I want to see some redemption, and it's a test of his character. Because if he blows this one, if Fogarty's putting up bombs and Jack Whiten's putting up bombs, and he does it again, it could cost him like the sauce.
Here's the difference, though, mate.
They won't play you if you play. If under pressure games, coaches won't play you if you deliver 2 weeks in a row. You could be on the scrap heap. Trust me.
Here's the difference. Someone messaged me and compared it to Jackson Polo getting dropped. Despite what happened to him, I agreed that he had to be dropped for that game because he made a couple of awful errors. Hardly anyone, maybe only Matt Burton in the comp can do what Nathan did to Wanga Blake.
Yeah.
Fogarty doesn't have it in his arsenal. Jack Whiten, despite how good of a players they are, they don't have it in their arsenal.
End over end.
Jack Whiten doesn't know where it's going to go when he kicks it, right? And that's respectfully because he's fucking gunned everything else. But the kicking game isn't their strength. So you're not going to dominate Wanga Blake the same way that...
No.
And then what Wanga Blake adds so much in defence and attack when it's not catching a Nathan Cleary bomb, because it's not like we've seen it fucking 6 times this year and go, fuck, Wanga Blake's going to go.
I thought Wanga Blake was safe under the height. He's
so did I.
usually safe. And I was surprised And then I just got to give credit to the kick.
Yeah.
And you got to add the pressure. Penrith Stadium, everything like that. And then you could see that kid, the confidence in his runs were down. Everything was down. So people need to get into his head. Look, just because you're dropping balls will make up for it in defence. You still need to fucking come out, play 2 and run harder than anything to make up for it. It's just like everything just sort of got, went down about 10 or 15% from those guys. So they're going to be hard to beat, Parra, if they can get back on board. But I think Canberra's, I'm going to pick Canberra. I don't think they're scared of any team at the moment. They're backing themselves. They've got Jack White and that young little centre who's through the Prez, nearly over the dead ball line when he come through. What's his name?
Oh, the centre.
Tomoko with the stiff arm. Timoko.
The fullback didn't even really come in. I think he made probably 6 runs for like maybe 50 or 60 metres.
Yeah.
Savage.
He wasn't. It sort of took him out of the game. But they're forward pack, man.
Joey
Tapane was on fire, and Big Papa wasn't far behind. And then you got Elliot Whitehead. And then you got Hudson Young, who just doesn't fucking stop. And then you got fucking Hawaii who's been great off the bench. So they've got a well-balanced side. I don't think they're scared of anyone. Kotrick's playing well.
How good's your team when Joseph Papali'i is your second best front rower?
Yeah,
geez, that'd be handy.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like he's
it's
playing,
like you guys when you had Ogre and fucking Azatazi and fucking yourself and
just like
you don't get a break.
No, and that's what they're like. They got and
you got Mutters Horsburgh coming off the pine as well.
And he was playing. He played good last week.
Yeah, he's been good all year. Horsburgh, jokes aside, Horsburgh's been really good. He's had a couple of moments you'd like to forget early on in the year where a couple of calls didn't go his way, but fuck, he's been good all year.
You mentioned
and he had to fight his way back too because he was out of the team.
He's out of favour there. Yeah. He come back from ACL as well. Remember, he got busted his ACL. Takes about 12 to 18 months to get fully back, and he's back now. So it's good. Back. It's good on him for
100%
sticking it out. Shaved head, goatee, mo. He's got it all going.
I was thinking Canberra. Now you've got me going to. You know what? Actually, this is going to be a live bet for me. I'm going to see what happens early on with the confidence in Wonga Blake, and then just see where they're at, and then see if Moses is playing, how hard they're peppering that because they're going to come down that right edge. Wonga Blake. Mitchy Moses, that's where they're coming. Parra will know they're coming. BA will have them prepared.
So Hudson Young will be taking care of Papali'i, and then you got Elliot Whitehead against Sean Lane. It's going to be, but then you got these good defenders like Fogarty and Whiten. You know what I mean? They're good defenders. They're not spot players. They're not spots like Dylan Brown and Mitch Moses. So if you want to run outside in, come in between,
Dill's
those blokes.
Dill's not a spot like
but like he can still a big body. He's not going to put a hit on. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've got
dip.
Yeah, exactly. So like if because you got these front rowers like Papa, like Tapine, who can skip out to those guys. If it's middle of the field, you get one. If it's off the 7, he can get straight at this 3-man straight away with a little bit of footwork. So you're gonna get a lot of traffic there. When I look at the back row, just say with Lane and Papali'i, if you're going to step over a little bit, you're still going to be running into a Hudson Young and Fogarty or Elliot Whitehead and Whiten. There's no spot there because Jack Whiten will put you on your back and Fogarty's arms are fucking massive.
And this is respectfully to the boys. I'd rather run at Hudson Young and Whitehead and I'm not saying they're slouches than Jack Whiten.
Jack Whiten he will smack you. He will smack you on your back. It's no like it ain't no legs tackle. You know what I mean? Like it's not like an ineffective tackle. He's putting you on your back and he's aggressive as hell. So that right side back row, he's going to be trying to spot Jack up. It's not a spot. It's not a spot. So you're going to have to go back in.
Reverse spot.
Yeah, he's going to get
SA reverso.
We mentioned it off the top of the show, Scope, but Jakey Arthur has again been named on the bench. Does it make more sense with Mitchell Moses under the injury club?
Yeah, it does.
Would you still have preferred to have seen Nathan Brown or Bryce in there?
Cartwright. I'd rather see Cartwright.
I'd probably still prefer Cartwright. That's just my personal opinion, but now it does make sense. I'm not 100% Moses will play. 7 days it's different to Cameron Murray. Remember when we talked about Cam Murray? He had that extra 2-day wiggle room.
Yeah, but he wasn't as knocked out.
Yeah,
he got straight back on his feet.
Yeah.
It's just like he got a. It's just like
I'm worried about Moses playing.
Like in a fight, bang! It's like he got a quick little knockdown and he got straight back up. Yeah. He's like, "Fuck." You know,
when Moses got me slipping. The limp arm.
When he's got, it was awful scenes. Awful scenes. And hopefully they are taking care of Mitch Moses, the person, and not the player.
Yeah, I want him to play.
Do due diligence. I want him to play. Of course, fans
if
want
he's
him to
healthy.
play because you want to beat the best version of Parramatta.
Yeah.
And I don't think Canberra really give a shit. They just want to win.
Yeah. I don't think it bothers him, to be fair.
Hopefully there's a little bit of care of duty from Parramatta to Mitch Moses. And Mitch Moses, just look after yourself. If you're not right to play, you're not right to play. Look after it.
This will be a cracker. This will be a good game. Really good game.
More to life than footy. Needs a fucking brain.
Come on, Tracker. Gutho will...
That
He
back
could be in for a
five,
big
that back
one.
five got schooled last week, bro.
Yeah, they'll be in for a big one.
Overcheck.
BA will know what's
Why
coming.
do you think they kept kicking him? Everyone's going, why are they kicking to Micah Sevo? Well, Micah Sevo's down on form, and I want Overcheck to take the second hit up so he can fucking pile in on him because he offers nothing. You know what I mean?
good
Like
point.
he's not like
Really good
Penasini.
point.
He's not like Penasini who can come out, he can move around. You know, Overcheck's pretty one-dimensional, great defender, but he's a role player. He's out there for defence, but he's not there for his play twos. You know, so like even if you kicked it to Gutho, then he can split the field and he can go whichever way he
And then
wants.
you can have
That's why
Sevo
they'll
play
just
two,
go
and you don't want
straight to
that.
Sevo, straight to Sevo, because
Yeah.
Sevo's going to get in there play twos. Way harder to tackle than Overcheck.
100%.
Game plan on point with Penrith.
All right, let's move on to Saturday. Skip, final game. We got the Cronulla Sharks taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So South's playing 3 games back to back to back at the new Allianz. Cronulla is slightly favoured in this one. It's just the 1 point, so it's basically dead even money. The over-under is 42.5, but the Sharks go in as slight favourites. Finucane will play.
No, not on my one. Tyler, what do you got? I got Top Sport. You got Sportsbet again.
Yeah, I'm still looking.
Yeah, get that shit out of here.
No,
Eh?
I'm looking at your notes,
No,
mate.
I'm only kidding. No, they're not. Cronulla are $2 underdogs.
okay.
Souths are $1.81.
Apologies, I'm looking at the wrong.
Yeah.
Says on
is it updated? We're on the same
195
thing.
Sharks and 185 for Rabbits.
Yeah. Shout out to Top Sport. Yeah, you come on, baby. You know where I'm going on this one. My X factor though, Mase. When Cronulla have played their best games, despite how good Nico Hines has been, Nico Hines is going to be Nico Hines no matter what. If Moyes is on, if Matty Moylan's on, and really opening up for Jesse Rami and Nico to have his sort of game, because I know Nico's going to do it. If Moyes is on, then it's scary for a Rabbitohs fan. And for me, the X factor for the South has to be their bench because it's a size versus mobility matchup. That's right. So when you look at last week's performance for the Sharks against the Cowboys, a kick return where it wasn't even much happening. Murray Talangi links up with Drinkwater early on in the game. He goes straight through the middle of the field. Tommy Dearden's try on the 35-minute mark, bang, straight through the middle of the field. The game, to tie the game up, Tomalolo, bang, a little block play straight through the middle. So they've got really big players, but they're not as mobile.
No.
And then you've got
Because look at those big boys.
South Sydney's bench is very similar to Cowboys in a way. You know, Ruben Cotters, Tommy Gilbert's a bigger body. He started, but you've got these players that aren't massive players. Griffin Neem, they're not like massive.
They're big.
They
move
they're
naturally.
mobile.
They're good.
mobile.
Yeah.
So that's
They're
got to
like
be the
Penrith,
difference
move
before
around.
me.
They move around the
Spencer
game. They move.
Leniu, like Moses
Fisher Harris,
Leota.
Leota, Isaiah Yeo,
They're not like
Appy,
so.
Kenny.
So I think a guy like Burgess, it will hurt him a little bit because I reckon Tommy's impact when he's been coming off the bench for him this year has been like really underrated because they're sort of moving away from that really big front row, but he's still mobile enough where he can make a difference. But I reckon it's going to be a size versus mobility bench game, and that could prove the difference for South.
Because I think that in the later part of the games, the Uelis, Fafita, Toby Rudolph, Royce Hunt, big bodies.
Yeah,
Very
but
big bodies.
that's also how they scored. Toby Rudolph straight through the front
But
door.
who's the better defensive team, do you think? Traditionally, North Queensland were this year, weren't they?
Yep.
You know, they were top two.
Yep.
Top two. And they just but some of the tries that Cronulla scored, were they soft or were they just great execution and plays by
Just big
by our
plays,
man, like fucking
Tommy
Nico
Dearden, bro.
Hines?
Yeah,
I mean,
Nico-
I'm just
Nico,
saying
yeah.
that the Cronulla
Yeah.
tries.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
They
yeah.
were putting some plays on. Those short side raids. Mulatalo, they were doing that little. Remember the Toops used to do that short side?
Yeah.
That block
Yes.
runner and the guy
Go
coming
around
out
the
the
back.
back from the guy. What about what
Wado
we said
does it
last
now.
year when Nico Hines come from nowhere?
Yeah.
What was the indicator? Was it you got to see him and then they come up, boom, 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 hands,
Yeah.
and Talakai untouched.
Yeah, untouched.
There was numbers there. It was man on. All it was a simple play, block play. But Nico Hines started behind the play the ball. Next minute he pops up, boom, little short ball.
Yeah.
Like they're the little tip ups that I think Demetrio is pretty good at. You know, like you got to look at these little things. And I think South Sydney have more strike than Cronulla.
They got more game winners.
But I'm like, was North Queensland off defensively, or was Cronulla attack just so good? Because they both scored 30 points, right?
Yeah.
And some of the tries, you're like, when Dearden scored that try, you know, when the Talakai try untouched, Taumalolo at the end untouched, fucking 10 seconds ago, like he still does that. It was a normal block play, mate. Why you got your shoulders out? You got to put your body on the fucking line.
Mobility, man. The
You know
big,
what I mean?
big boys won't
He
get across.
he just got, what's he looking out the back for? Everyone comes up and in. My first eyes are on Taumalolo. Block play, it's going straight to him. I'm going to put everything into that game over. You know what I mean? They let it slip. They should have won that game.
I went back and watched the South game versus Sharks about 6-7 weeks ago. And that game went to Golden
1
Point.
point,
You've got to
yeah.
remember, Latrell, I think Campbell Graham went down early. Latrell got moved to left centre where he didn't really have an influence on the game.
They were off.
They honestly, how do I word this? South were the better team. Trell was just
and
cruising,
they just got beat by 1 point.
And they just got beaten in Golden Point. So this makes me think the game's now at Allianz.
I honestly
Cody
don't
Walker's
think-
come out and said it's their home ground. 3 games in a row at Allianz. That's going to play into
I
it.
honestly don't think that they're scared of the Sharks.
Yeah, I don't
Not
think
their forward pack, not their back line. I thought Talakai was outstanding. I thought Mulitalo was outstanding. I thought Nico Hines was outstanding. I thought they should have won the game. If they were on, I mean, a couple little things went against them. 10 minutes in the bin, but like, look at Penrith when someone got 10 cent for 10. They looked like they had an extra man.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just and just letting Taumalolo score, just to even it up. Just show me that could really fuck with their confidence. When South coming after the beat down that they copped 2 weeks ago, bang here again, school their rivals, and then they're going to go against the Sharks. I don't think they give a shit. They're like,
That's what scares me, mate.
Get out of our way. I just think that
It scares me that they play in Penrith next week potentially.
I don't like that.
And they sans respect fucking the Sharks, and they don't take them seriously enough.
Yeah, I know that. I'm thinking.
That's what scares me. The only thing,
it does a little bit, but I'm just like, you know what? I just think they have that confidence in Trell Mitt. Cody Walker played low key outstanding on the weekend.
He did. Yeah,
the way he set those balls up. Cam Murray played outstanding. Look what he did.
You know what I really liked?
Look what he adds.
Yeah.
He brings Kaloa Matangi into the game. Jai Arrow was outstanding defensively. Yeah. He was a beast. Totola was great again.
You know what I really like?
Cook.
Isaiah Tass.
I think is good, man.
He's this is respectfully again, he's not going to blow you away, but he makes the right decisions all the time on that left edge. So you got to remember, like, they took Gags away from that left edge who was there for the last couple of years. Gags is a fucking origin player, and it took them a while to get it right. They trialled Campbell Graham over there. They had Jackson Paulo at the start of the year. But since Tass has been there and he's played there consistently, it's changed that left edge. A couple of things. Trell Mitt, gun little fucking shoots it out to Tass, sums it up beautifully, brings Suolati in, little tip over, Alex Johnson first try. Later on in the half, next time it's Momorowski I think it might have been the last try of the game, the first and last try. Momorowski sets his feet, tries to do the dive, dummy shows and goes. Centers fuck them up sometimes. And there's nothing worse. It's like the outside back argument, Wonga Blake. If you're a forward and you're turning around and Wonga Blake's dropping the ball, you might go, oh, fuck, we're going to have a cunt of a day. Nothing worse than when you've done everything right, you've run your right lines, you've got it out the back, Cam Murray's bang, bang, and a centre fucks it up and he doesn't quite have that silk on it. And I'll give Isaiah Tass a lot of props. I think he's been unreal for him this year, a real unsung hero for him.
Oh, yeah, I think he's been good. Souths are going to be hard to beat. I honestly don't think they do respect Cronulla because they know how they're in the game. They'll try and make it just Cronulla-ish. You know what I mean? They'll try and. Sure, yeah, you know what I mean? Just play real dirty, play real smash mouth football, get to the end of the sets, put a little bit of silk on it at the end with Nico Hines and Moylan. Those little trick plays that they did against North Queensland. North Queensland weren't ready for it down those short sides. When they had numbers and everything, they just didn't number up right. They didn't defend good. They did not defend good at all. They attacked really well. They defended in patches, but some of those plays, when they were set plays, they scored nearly every time, Cronulla, when they got in the red zone. Usually, you don't really score against the Cowboys. Yeah. And you don't even really score against the Sharks, let alone a long ranger from dummy half like Dearden scored. Or a Taumalolo just right side of the post, like with a simple block play. Like you don't play, it's just little fundamentals in defence when you get a little bit tired, that's what happens in semi-final football. That game was quick, aggressive, fast, it was non-stop. The only thing that was they were getting breathers for was because they were scoring tries.
I'll give you an example. This is the only thing that worries me about South, and this is like a mentality thing. If South were playing Sharks, second versus third, to have a week off next week, I'd go fucking South 13+. Because I'd be thinking they know what's ahead of them, but the fact that they know that they've got a Penrith that's sitting there waiting, and they just don't take Cronulla seriously enough.
What do you think their mindset is at the moment?
I reckon, I know games that they've chilled and relaxed and remember I told you, remember they played Penrith and Penrith didn't have Cleary and Luai? And I thought...
They got beat.
They got beat because they didn't respect him because they're in my head I thought,
They thought Melbourne towed them up, we're towing them
Yeah,
up because we
yeah.
can beat Melbourne. It was just
Yeah.
like back under 10s.
Yeah. That's what worries me about South. That's the only thing that worries me. If
Do you reckon
this was
they could
second
learn?
versus third,
Do you think they could learn from that?
if this was a grand final, I'd go South's 13 plus. That's how confident I'd
Do
be.
you think that they learned from that last experience of,
I hope they have.
of
I hope they
looking
have.
forward too much, going,
Yeah,
we're
I
going
hope
to
they
get
have.
these guys?
Yep.
I think that might be a learning curve for everyone.
Yeah.
You know,
for
like,
sure.
So, yeah, I'm not sure they'll miss Tommy that much. As I said, like the people don't mind playing small. Michael Cheekan can
Yep.
play anywhere.
Yep.
And their forwards are pretty fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hamasele,
plays pretty good.
he's
He's aggressive
grouse.
on the weekend.
Yeah, he hits well, man. Fuck.
Yeah, his tackle tech's on point.
Michael Cheekham on the bench too.
Yeah,
Skip.
Chi, yeah,
That's
he
what I'm
just
saying,
said Chi,
the Chi,
yeah.
Like he can come on. Like, remember a couple of years ago, he was doing some freaky shit for the Tigers. He just can't really get a gig. Kaloa Matangi was outstanding. Cam Murray again, you know what I mean? Like the amount of offloads and second phase and fuck, he's just outstanding. You just got to keep him on the field.
Yep. All good?
Final prediction. Where are you going? You gonna go South?
Yeah, I'm going South. I'm
Nice.
going South.
South.
All right. Well, then I'll go Cronulla just for a bit of parody.
Oh,
there
for
you
a
go.
giggle.
For a giggle. There you go.
All right.
Skip.
Thank you. See you again next week.
All right. Cheers, guys.